Okay, so we've made it to the bridge section after the main solo, and now we have a little bit of a rhythm going on. It's very similar. It's pretty much just exactly like we just did in at the very end of the main solo, the second half of the rhythm to the second half of the main solo, except now it's a lot more subdued and kind of muted, and you just kind of looks like. Okay, so it's kind of like that, and then it'll build back up and play it like it did at the end of the main solo again. Now, for the guitar part during that, Slash has kind of got a wah pedal going, and he's doing a lot of muting. It's kind of some random stuff going on. He does kind of open up that phrase by just picking the 9th fret on the G string, and then doing some wah muting like that. And then he'll add a couple of fills. The first fill, he's down in E minor pentatonic here, and he kind of lets it trail off before he finishes the lick. Then he plays it again for the entire lick. So we basically have, which is basically pulling off 7 to 5 on the D string and then 7 to 5 on the A. And then he'll repeat it, but this time continuing the lick all the way down, which is just pulling off 7 to 5 on the D string, the A string, then the E. And now when you finish pulling off 7, 5 on the E, slide it down to the G note, the 3rd fret. All right, and you still got some wah things going on, just kind of muting the strings and riding the wah pedal. And then he does a trill between 7 and 9 on the G string. And he'll end that with the G note here on the 8th fret of the B string. And then the music starts building back up. And then when they start going into all the where do we go now kind of thing, he mimics the vocal line in the solo. He goes. So we have a kind of low in the mix, so you got to really listen for that part, but he follows Axl's vocal line there. Whole step bend and release at the 15th fret on the B string, then 12 on the B, then 14, 12 on the G string, slide into the 17th fret on the B string, and pick that a few times in a rhythm. You're building the dynamic. And then we take that to the big bend. This guitar only has 21 frets on it, but it's going to be he's playing this on the 22nd fret on his Les Paul, Les Paul copy, and it is a whole step bend on the 22nd fret. So I'm going to have to bend it a step and a half to make it sound like that high E note. You pick it a few times at the full bend, so it's going to be a whole step bend at the 22nd fret. Then we're going to come down to the 17th fret and do a half. So a whole step bend, kind of pre-bend. You always pre-bend and then pick it and release it and then go back up. So it's like this gives kind of wailing effect. All right. And then you just kind of pull off from 17 to 15 over to the 17th fret on the B string. All right. So it's. All right, then come down here. We're going to do a whole step bend at the 15th fret. Now we have a fast, repetitive blues lick that comes in. And that's just going to be picking the 12th fret on the high E, pulling off from 15 to 12 on the B string, and then playing the 14th fret on the G. So we got. All right, so just do that. He does it a ton of times. And then you do a bend at the 15th fret. Kind of a bend and release at the 15th fret on the B string, whole step. Then you come down to the 14th fret on the 14 and 12, and you kind of. You're doing a pre-bend, half step little pre-bend, release, because it makes that little blues note there. release it to the 14th fret, pick the 12th, and then so it's kind of a pre-bend, release, pick 12, and then do a bend up and stop, and just repeat that lick again. And then we have this little thing that comes in. So we have two guitar players that are going to be doing that a couple octaves apart. So we need to do both parts. First of all, the rhythm guitar line does, and then goes back into that rhythm again that we were doing before. So that's 7/5 on the A string, then 7/6/5 on the low E string, come down to the 3rd fret, and then you start the rhythm over. So at that part in the slash solo that we were doing, he follows that couple octaves up. So it's the high E note on the high E string, the 12th fret on the high E string, 15, 12 on the B string, then go 15, 14, 12 on the G. And when he comes down to this, he basically does it's like you can hear a unison bend in there at the very end of the. So it's just basically messing around with that 14th fret on the G string, but you can add the 15th fret on the B string with it. All right, and then that takes us to the descending line, which is going to sound like this. Okay, so what's going on there? We're going to pick from 14, and then pick it again, slide it down to 9. That's on the D string. And then pick 9 again and slide it down to 5. And then come over to the 10th fret on the A string and pick it and slide down to 7. Keep holding that, letting it ring, slide down to the 2nd fret. Then we're going to come over to the low E string, slide up into the 5th fret. Slide down to the 3rd. And then you can kind of pull off to make that low E happen, or you can hit it. All right, so all together. You could use a little bit of whammy bar, but he actually takes his guitar, since he doesn't have a any kind of a bridge system, and just bend the neck forward a little bit. Make sure you don't damage the neck though. All right, so that's it for Sweet Child of Mine. I hope you have a lot of fun dissecting all these parts, and hope you can get up to playing it in no time. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.